Hi, everybody. Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. This is the security news update for June 11th, 2023. On the alert side, the feds have issued a ban on TikTok on contractors' employee-owned devices, on BYOD devices. This is a kind of ratcheting up the pressure on TikTok, but it applies to folks selling into the federal sector, and it doesn't matter whether TikTok is part of a deliverable or not. If you have questions about this, please reach out to us for sure. Um, in the legal and legislative department, the feds are going after the cryptocurrency folks pretty aggressively. They went, obviously they were asleep at the wheel with FTX, so they've gone after Binance, and now they're going after Coinbase, basically saying these guys are exchanges and they're not registered with the Security and Exchange Commission. So we shall see where these lawsuits wind up. You know, the exchanges say, well, we don't really understand what the rules are because we think we deserve special rules, different rules than all the other kinds of exchanges, whether it's a stock exchange or a commodity exchange or anything like that. We think we deserve special rules, and since you haven't defined special rules for us, then we think the rules don't apply to us. I don't know whether that's going to fly in court, but it'll be interesting to see. For those of you in the financial sector, the new FTC Safeguards Rule is now in effect with a whole bunch of new requirements. It looks a lot like New York DFS, if you're familiar with that. And if you need help with that, also please reach out to us. In the education department, the feds, in particular, the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center, the ISAC, has put out a really nice guide to securing remote access software. It includes attack tactics and techniques. And if you'd like a copy of that, reach out to me. I can't post it, but reach out to me. In the breach department, Scrubs and Beyond left 400 gigabytes worth of data exposed. That's a lot. But more importantly, they seem to have lost their voice in terms of telling people what's going on. Now, maybe they don't know what's going on. I don't know. But at least 100,000 records are exposed, including names, addresses, phone numbers, and full unencrypted credit card numbers, a clear violation of any number of rules and laws. Um, the database was exposed on May 16th. The researchers reached out to the company multiple times, and they've apparently not done anything. Certainly, you should expect multiple lawsuits, but it also asks the question about, if someone calls some random person in your company and says, whatever, we found this exposed data, how do you handle that? And your folks trained to deal with that. Um, Again, if you need help with that, reach out to us. The entire island of Martinique, which is obviously not very big, it's an island, was hit by a cyber attack, which disrupted government services. Martinique is controlled by the French, but apparently they're not particularly ready for cyber attacks. The attack began about a month ago and continues, or the recovery from it continues. They're trying to restore things like internet service. That would be nice, but at least to colleges and high schools anyway. Um, and the schools are trying to figure out how to handle final exams. Students may be thrilled if that doesn't happen, but I'm guessing they'll figure out how to do that. Even payment of Social Security benefits is at risk. And the hackers have started leaking the data that they stole. So, not good for those folks. Uh, Also in the breach department, Enzo Biochem confirms that they lost the control of 2.5 million clients' data. How we found out about this, unfortunately, is because they filed a 10Q with the SEC. Um, I guess, in fairness, the reason why the SEC forced companies to do this is because they wouldn't talk about it any other way. And so, at least when we see the 10Qs and 10Ks come out, we see what happened historically. We also see sometimes when they file reports with the state attorney generals, and those attorney generals publish the reports that they get. So, companies are not terribly forthcoming about this. That, no doubt, is because they're worried about being sued, which you can't particularly blame them for because that's likely to happen. And of these 2.5 million records, about a quarter of them had Social Security numbers in them. So, um, as I said, the feds are going after Coinbase, but they're also going after Binance. Same thing, and their defense is, well, we didn't think it applied to us. It doesn't sound like a very good defense. I mean, people have been saying this for a long time, but we shall see. Um, and hackers have found a new use for AI. You can take generative AI and generate an image where it didn't exist before. We've seen some use of that. The other day, we saw a picture of President Trump kissing Anthony Fauci, which never happened. Um, well, they're using it for extortion, and they're creating pictures of people where those pictures don't actually exist, doing compromising things and threatening to publish them if people don't pay money. I suspect we're going to see more of that because it's probably relatively lucrative. Nobody wants to see sexually explicit pictures of themselves or their kids being published publicly, and might be willing to pay money if someone said, well, gee, if you pay money, we won't publish those pictures. Um, in the breach planning department, we've always had first party breaches, where you had servers in your computer room and they get hacked. But, third party breaches became very commonplace when people went to outsourcing. But now these outsourcers are outsourcing, and those outsourcers are outsourcing. So we're seeing a number of fourth party and fifth party breaches. And the question is your vendor cyber risk management program capable of handling that? And lastly, in the security news bites, the feds are reminding folks that money stored in fintech platforms like eBay, and they're not particularly picking on eBay, there's a whole bunch of them, are at risk because there's no insurance. And if something happens, which we saw, for example, in the FTX collapse, you're just an unsecured creditor. You have no recourse whatsoever other than to get in line with all the other creditors, uh, uh, and maybe you'll get a penny on the dollar for whatever money you have there. So they're saying don't leave your money there, which I am sure the fintech platforms are not terribly thrilled about the Fed saying, but you have to figure out what your risk tolerance is. If you have $200 stored in your eBay account, and you really are not terribly concerned about whether or not you lose that $200, then that's fine. But if you have $2,000 or $20,000, then that may be more real to you. Next, Atomic Wallet, which is a crypto wallet piece of software, got hacked, got hacked. People's wallets got emptied. Remember, crypto wallet, and they're not an exchange; they're just a crypto wallet. So what they are is a piece of software. And last I heard, software has bugs in it. And this is a case of that software has bugs, and unfortunately, the ramifications of that software having bugs is that you lose all your money. Now, remember, just like fintech, there's no insurance and there's no guarantee that software is bug free. So there's literally, in this case, nobody to sue other than yourself for leaving your money in Atomic Wallet. Next, non-competes may be unenforceable. The Department of Labor just joined that conversation. They said with rare exceptions. So if you use non-competes, talk to your lawyer to figure out whether or not you need to do something different or whether you just need to scrap it altogether. In the AI deep fakes department, where you're seeing it used for a lot of things. In this particular case, there was a hacked video which appeared on a number of Russian TV and radio stations near the Ukrainian border that said that Putin declared martial law and instituted a general call-up. Needless to say, he didn't, even though he might be inclined to do that. He didn't, and that caused a lot of chaos in that border region. But expect to see this. We'll see this in the election campaign next year as well, I'm sure. And counterfeit network gear is rearing its ugly head. There was a guy who was accused of selling $1 billion worth of fake Cisco gear, netting himself about $100 million. He's now a guest at the Federal Crossbar Hotel and will remain there for a while, I am sure. But if you see pricing which looks too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. With that, that's all we have for this week. Thanks for listening or watching, and until next time, stay safe.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.